Here's a professional, in-depth, and journalistic rewrite of your text in English. Pay that quarterback. The debate around NFL salaries is nothing new, but the conversation intensifies when a young, underpaid signal caller proves himself on the grandest stage. What happens when an organization transitions from a bargain at the most valuable position in sports to a financial commitment that reshapes the roster? In a moment of lightheartedness before diving into serious NFL analysis, the discussion took an unexpected turn, dancing in the studio, off-camera moments, and the ever-present reality that in this era of sports media, the microphones are always on. But as the music fades, the focus shifts back to the league's financial mechanics, particularly in San Francisco, where the 49ers find themselves at a pivotal moment with Brock Purdy. The basic economics of the NFL dictate that when a team drafts a quarterback and he outperforms his rookie contract, he instantly becomes one of the best values in the sport. But that advantage has an expiration date. Eventually, the bill comes due. The moment an organization decides to pay its quarterback what he's worth, sacrifices must be made elsewhere on the roster. It's a universal truth, one that applies to all 32 franchises. This offseason, San Francisco made that reality abundantly clear, shedding talent in preparation for the inevitable payday that awaits Purdy. Jed York, the 49ers owner, addressed the situation candidly. His comments revealed a franchise fully aware of the financial balancing act required to retain a quarterback who has, until now, been one of the league's greatest bargains. York acknowledged that difficult decisions had to be made, emphasizing that once the decision to extend a quarterback is set in motion, restructuring the roster is unavoidable. The 49ers' approach appears deliberate, with York stating outright that the team aims to make Purdy the highest-paid player in franchise history, a significant milestone for a quarterback who, just a few years ago, was the last pick in the NFL draft. But how highly does the organization truly value Purdy? When asked if he is a top 10 quarterback, York's response was telling. He lauded Purdy's play but emphasized the importance of the system around him, particularly head coach Kyle Shanahan's influence. A conditional top 10 quarterback, one whose success is intrinsically tied to the coach and surrounding talent, is a far cry from the unquestioned elite status of players like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. These quarterbacks demand top-tier contracts with no caveats attached. The conversation naturally pivots to Lamar Jackson, a player whose talent was undeniable from the moment he stepped onto an NFL field. Despite skepticism from teams leading up to the draft, Jackson became a two-time MVP in his first 7 seasons, proving that Baltimore's decision to embrace his unique skill set was a masterstroke. His success wasn't dependent on a specific system or personnel. He elevated his team, regardless of who was around him. That's the kind of quarterback who commands a blank check. Is Purdy in that same category? The numbers paint a stark picture. If the 49ers choose to pay Purdy in line with recent quarterback contracts, his deal could land between $53 and $55 million per year. If he pushes toward the 21 to 25% range of the salary cap, consistent with what other top quarterbacks have earned, that figure climbs closer to $58 million annually. At that number, San Francisco's ability to contend at the highest level could be compromised. The decision isn't just about rewarding Purdy for past performance. It's about ensuring the franchise remains competitive in the long run. So, where does Purdy's contract ultimately land? The debate is ongoing. Some argue he should take a slightly lower figure to maintain the team's depth, while others insist he should demand every dollar he's owed, given that San Francisco structured its off-season moves around paying him. The team let go of key contributors under the assumption that Purdy's payday was inevitable. Why should he settle for less? York's calculated public statements might be a strategic attempt to influence negotiations. By emphasizing Purdy's dependence on Shanahan and the roster around him, the 49ers could be subtly positioning themselves to offer a slightly lower deal, hoping Purdy sees the long-term benefit of maintaining a competitive team. But players, especially quarterbacks, understand their market value. If Purdy were suddenly available, there would be no shortage of suitors willing to hand him a massive contract. The Pittsburgh Steelers, for example, would almost certainly make a strong bid if acquiring him required only financial commitment rather than draft capital. In the end, the 49ers must decide, Is Brock Purdy a quarterback whose talent transcends scheme and supporting cast, warranting a record-breaking deal? Or is he a product of an ideal system, one that maximizes his strengths but wouldn't necessarily translate elsewhere? The numbers will soon tell the story, but the weight of this decision will shape the future of the San Francisco 49ers for years to come.